Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. I'm Mike Drotis, Bible teacher and preacher, and you've tuned into my YouTube channel, Solving the Prophetic Puzzle. Prophecy alert! We are seeing Bible prophecy happen right before our eyes, one after the other after the other. Things are happening at a faster and faster pace all the time, and yet there are people who are missing all of this. Jesus talked to the Pharisees and the Sadducees in his time period when he was right there in their midst, and he says, you can't even discern the time. You don't even know what's happening right before your eyes. We are seeing Bible prophecy happen right before our eyes. As we draw closer to the tribulation period, that 7-year time frame known as Daniel's 70th week, or some call it the 7-year tribulation period, as we draw closer to that, and I believe we're just on the verge of it. It's just a few years out. We are almost there to this 7-year tribulation period. As we draw closer to that time period, we are going to see prophecy ramp up in an escalated way. It will happen. Most Bible prophecy is happening right in the very nation of Israel. And then to dial that down a little more, Bible prophecy during the 7-year tribulation period, a lot of it's going to happen not only in the nation of Israel, but in the city of Jerusalem. And then to dial that down just a little bit more, not only is Bible prophecy during the 7-year tribulation going to be happening in the nation of Israel, in the city of Jerusalem, but on the very Temple Mount. And we are seeing Bible prophecy right now going in that direction. Just last night, I was at a Shabbat meeting, and I was listening to this lady. She lives in Israel. She has a ministry in Israel. Her son is in the Israeli Defense Force. And she was explaining about how she is reaching to those Christians, those believers that are being persecuted in the region. And it's a great ministry. But the thing that caught my attention was, as while she was speaking, she was talking about, she was on the phone with her son a few months ago. The date was September 15th, and he's in the IDF, and she said as she was talking to him on the phone, she heard a lot of screaming and yelling and cheering and clapping and horn blowing and singing, and she said, "What is going on?" And he says, "We have just received 5 red heifers from the United States. We have 5 red heifers." And these are her words that she said during her talk last night at the Shabbat meeting. She said, "We hope that these red heifers will be able to do what they're supposed to do." And I've done a video on the 5 red heifers. This is a great prophetic implication. These red heifers, ever since the nation of Israel has been established since 1948, they have been trying to get a red heifer. They need a red heifer. And at times they thought they had one, but it always was disqualified because you have to wait about a year before they are officially ready for sacrifice and to be used in the temple worship and whatnot. And so every time it looked like they had a red heifer, then it was disqualified, because if you have 1 or 2 hairs that aren't red, then the cow, the heifer, is disqualified. But at this point, they have 5 red heifers, and now the time period is less than a year when they will be able to use one of these. And you may be asking, what are they going to use a red heifer for? This red heifer will be sacrificed, and the ashes will be used to make the waters of purification. They need the waters of purification to purify everything involving the temple worship. Everything's gearing towards rebuilding the Jewish temple. And the ashes of the red heifer is like the foundation where everything else is laid upon. These ashes will make the water of purification, where they will purify the priesthood, they will purify the instruments, they will purify the Temple Mount, they will purify, these waters will purify the building and the construction. Everything hinges on having these 5 red heifers, or 1 red heifer, so that they can make the ashes of the red heifer to create the water of purification. And they have that now, and time is ticking. Less than a year now, these red heifers will be ready to be sacrificed. Not only that, the Temple Institute, which is just a few blocks away from the Temple Mount, has recreated every article used in temple worship to the exact biblical specifications. These are not museum pieces. These are pieces that they have prepared, that they are ready to use once they rebuild the temple. There's also something interesting that I found interesting. The high priest, blue garment, blue robe that he would wear. This high priest would wear this blue robe. They didn't know the dye. They didn't know how to create the dye, the blue dye for this high priest tunic, until they discovered that it comes from a snail. And that now they have the ability to make the blue dye for the tunic of the high priest. They also, at this point, they also have 500 trained Jewish young men ready to perform priestly duties in the temple. And they all come from the tribe of Levi, verified and confirmed by DNA. They are moving in a direction. The nation of Israel wants to see this temple rebuilt. The people in the region want to see the temple rebuilt. Even some Muslims and Arabs are okay with having a temple rebuilt on the Temple Mount next to the Dome of the Rock. They are already talking that it will be called a place of prayer for all nations. This is where it's heading. They've already built the altar. It's a mobile altar, and they want to take that altar onto the Temple Mount now and start doing sacrifices. They have a high priest in waiting. They just need their temple. Oh, here's something interesting. There was a prophecy a few years ago that a rabbi said that the Messiah would come when Benjamin Netanyahu was prime minister. Well, as some of you know, he was voted out, or he left office a few years ago. But guess what? He's back. Benjamin Netanyahu is back. And now that everything is pointing towards their Messiah. They are looking for a Messiah. The Jewish people are looking for a Messiah right now. The sad thing is, Jesus Christ is their Messiah. He's already come, but they rejected him. So they're looking for a new Messiah. They're looking for their Messiah. They think they found him. I won't tell you his name, but you can look it up on YouTube videos. But I'll tell you what he's called. He's called the Yanuka. This is a guy, he's a Jewish man. He's 32 years old. He wears all black, and he wears a black hat. He has a beard. He has glasses. He has curly hair on the side. He's said to be a once-in-a-generational individual. He understands the Torah to a degree that even the old rabbis can't understand it. He is a great teacher. And he understands the Torah, and he teaches it in a way that everyone is drawn to him. The old rabbis are kissing on his hand, and they're placing him in high positions amongst them. There's a place at the Wailing Wall that only the most esteemed rabbis go. And they have allowed this young man, this 32-year-old guy, to enter in, this Yanuka, to enter into that place. They say that he has confirmed 5 miracles that he performed. I'm not saying any more about this person. I'm just saying that things are moving in a direction that the world wants it to go. They are moving. Everything is moving like bricks, building on top of one another. These are exciting times. And a lot of people, a lot of believers are getting excited. But we have to realize, and this is a warning to everyone, we have to realize that the temple that they want to rebuild on the Temple Mount, that same temple is the one that the Antichrist is going to go into. It has nothing to do with bringing back Jesus. Jesus Christ is coming back at his timing. And he will come, and he will rapture the church. He will rapture the believers out of here. And then at the end of the 7-year tribulation, he will come back, and he will set up his 1,000-year kingdom. He doesn't need that temple that they are building on the Temple Mount. That's not for him. That's for the Antichrist. Look at 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3 and 4. Paul is talking here, and he says, "Let no one deceive you by any means, for that day will not come unless the falling away comes first, and the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." Paul says that In the last days, there will be a rebuilt temple, and the son of perdition, the man of sin, the Antichrist, will go into this rebuilt temple. He will go into the Holy of Holies. He will desecrate it. Jesus says it will be an abomination of desolation. He will proclaim himself as God, and he'll set up an image of himself, forcing all people to worship the image, breaking the first and the second commandment. Jesus said at that point in time, the earth will experience a time of great tribulation. Great tribulation. This is about to happen in the midpoint. So you have to have the temple built before the midpoint of the tribulation period. The Revelation 13 also talks about two beasts. You can read about that, two beasts. There's the Antichrist and the false prophet, and they go into that temple, and they force people to receive a mark on their hand or on their forehead, and they must worship the beast, and they must accept this mark. But the Bible says anyone who accepts the mark of the beast is forever doomed. We are seeing Bible prophecy be fulfilled right before our eyes, and it's exciting. But we need to be excited for the right reason. We are seeing things line up like dominoes. We are right now in the midst of the seven seals being opened. As I've said in other videos, I believe that we've already seen the first two seals opened up of the book of Revelation. I know that gets people a little bit upset and concerned and knocks over their theology. But the seven seals are on the outside of the scroll, and we are seeing the seals being opened one by one. The first seal, the rider on the white horse, was opened, I say, February 2020. Let's read about the rider on the white horse. Revelation chapter 6. Now I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard one of the four living creatures saying with a loud voice, "Come and see." And I looked, and behold, a white horse, and he who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went out conquering and to conquer. Here we see this first rider. He's on a white horse. He's given a crown, corona. He's given this crown, and he goes forward, and he begins to ride throughout the earth, conquering. In February of 2020, the world experienced something that it had never experienced before. This corona went about the world, shutting down nations, killing millions of people, shutting down churches, destroying economies, destroying families, changing the way of life forever. And it is still riding throughout the world right now. The second horse, the red horse. Revelation chapter 6, verse 3. Then he opened the second seal, and I heard the second living creature say, "Come and see." And another horse, fiery red, went out, and it was granted to the one who sat on it to take peace from the earth, and that people should kill one another. And there was given to him a great sword. This second horse red horse is war. And in February 24th, I believe, I woke up, began to watch television, and I saw that a large nation, invaded another nation. And that began what I call the domino of war. That war then brought the United States in, and then brought other countries in to support this other nation. And now we have proxy wars. Now we have talk of cyber war. Now we have talks of limited tactical nuclear wars. Now we have other nations, big dragon nations, looking at tiny island nations, wanting to gobble them up. We have wars all over, and we have a spirit of war. And this horse is riding. The next horse is the black horse. Hyperinflation, a day's wage for a loaf of bread. Hey, you may think, oh, we've got inflation now. You haven't seen nothing yet. When it takes a day's wage to buy a loaf of bread, that's when you know the rider on the black horse is riding. And then the pale horse is after the black horse. And that's when a fourth of mankind is killed, is destroyed. These are biblical times. These are prophetic times. We are seeing things unfold at a great pace. We are very near the rapture of the church. That's the reason why we should be excited. As we see these things happening in Israel, as we see these things happening in Jerusalem, happening on the Temple Mount, as we see the seals being opened, we can realize that time is getting compressed and the rapture is getting closer every moment. Time is short. We need to be rapture ready. We need to be prepared. We need to be prepared for difficult times. Well, I thought the rapture would take us away before anything bad happens. Maybe, maybe not. It's always good and prudent to be prepared. Be prepared for difficult times. Be prepared for inconvenient times. Be prepared for persecution. It very well could happen before the rapture comes. Draw closer to God. Get in the Bible. Hide the Bible in your heart. Hide the scriptures in your heart. Memorize scripture. Tuck it away so that in times of adversity, you can draw from that well of life that you have filled up, that reservoir of the word that you put inside of you. Tell people to get ready. Jesus is coming back soon. Hey, thanks for watching. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do. I really appreciate it. If you would like to share these videos, that's totally fine by me. I encourage it. Let's get the word out. If you have a prayer request, please write me or email me or post it. I will pray for your prayer request. I pray for all the people who watch these videos. It's going out all over the world, and I appreciate everyone's interest in the last days and what we are seeing as Bible prophecy is coming together. It's like I said, we are solving the prophetic puzzle. I don't know if we're solving it, but we're putting it together. Piece by piece, they're coming into play, and we get to witness all this before the great day of the rapture event. So like I say, keep looking up. Jesus Christ is coming soon. God bless.